when I say reality, some people might think reality as their lives, like their friends, their family, and their companies or hobbies. But when I say reality, is how you perceive that world right now, right moment. How do you perceive that? That's the reality.
Who gets to say, is there one correct reality?
We don't actually have our continuous existence because it's just a continuous flow of the frames. So we just vibrationally shifted to the other frame. So we don't have our continuous situation.
Like an animation.
It's actually 2D, but we perceive 2D as 3D.
Perceive 2D as 3D. Hi, AJ, and hi, everyone. Welcome back to Paradigm Surf. It's great to see you again, AJ. We spoke a little bit about energy last time. Now,
Yeah.
how was that
Mm.
conversation for you? What did you think?
Yeah, it went so deep and too deep. More than I expected. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's good. Yeah, that's really our channel, our channel's
yeah.
concept. Yeah,
Of course, I feel like we can always find a different perspective to view the same topic on. And for
yeah,
anybody who's watching, I believe we will probably talk about energy again. It won't be the last time.
yeah.
Um, I was a little curious about
Mm,
still on the topic of energy and, exchanging and living on
mm.
this physical world. What are your thoughts on manifestation, AG?
Yeah. So we talked about energy last time, and energy is definitely the source of manifestation. Yeah, pure source of the manifestation.
Hmm.
So yeah, everything is created by energy, and
Hmm.
I mean manifested by energy. Yeah. So manifestation is how can I say, just uh it's hard to explain, like
Like, I
uh
guess I'm trying to think as well. Manifestation is, I would say, the way I perceive it is creating a reality. I don't know. Would you say creating a reality is a
yeah, but be, yeah, before we talk about the manifestation, we should understand what reality is.
okay, of course.
Yeah, so reality is um how can I say, it's like a film roll, and we are watching like a movie. Um, so your own lives or our own lives are like the movies, and the reality is just one single frame of the film roll.
Huh. So not the whole movie.
Yeah. So reality is just the right moment, the very moment, right now, right here.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the past and the future are just information or data.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
the past is reality that already, you could say, was already manifested. Could you say that?
Yeah. It's but we have a multiple past too. But
Oh,
from your perspective, your past is fixated to your experience.
oh, that's deep.
Yes.
So let me get this straight. What you're
Uh,
saying is that even in the past,
mm.
because every frame is or was reality
Yeah.
for a second,
So
there was
every
different.
moment, yeah,
Uh-huh.
every moment you chose your reality by your energy.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you attract your reality according to your energy level and your frequency.
So,
So the very best reality is chosen by your state and each moment. So that's your reality. And then the flow of the reality is called a movie.
now, I feel like a lot of people
Yeah.
are not gonna like hearing that because they'll
Mm.
think, all these bad things are happening to me. Does that mean it's because of
Mhm.
their state? It's their fault in a way?
Yeah, most of the time. But also,
Yeah.
it's really going
Okay.
deep. But I, so there's a notion of blueprint.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we decide uh, how our lives go. Just brief idea. So the main event or the key person or key
Mhm.
people you will meet are already decided before you're born.
What? Wait, so you're saying, the way you understand it, they're
Yeah.
the people that are important in your life agreed to be these important people?
Yeah, that's what I believe. But there are so many ideas, and
Mhm.
then but that's one of the ideas I believe in.
Huh.
Yeah.
I can understand, whether somebody comes from a spiritual or religious perspective. I think people sometimes are our biggest lessons, and sometimes our biggest lessons wear these
Mm.
disguises, right? Sometimes you might not understand why you met this person until something else happens and the dots connect and you realize, oh, this was the blueprint that I
Yeah,
signed up for. Right.
yeah. So imagine that you are playing a video game, like a role-playing game. So, uh, uh, so how can I say the the world is just one, right?
Hmm.
So, but so many people are playing the same game. Yeah, and each has a different event, a different flow. But main event or characters or um, the system are the same. You share the same condition, but
Mm,
the patterns
yeah.
of events or flow are numberless. So,
Ooh. So now this
so
is an
you have
interesting
to meet,
question.
yeah, you have to meet certain people at certain time, but other time you have a free time. They're flexible.
Huh. I don't think we've talked about this before, but this is good.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can do sub quests if you want, or you can just wander around the field if you want.
but there's always a main quest
Yeah, you
for
have
the
to go.
state.
And but the video game doesn't have a limit, the time limit, but the real life has time limit. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to be
if
smart
you
about what you do in
so
a way.
if you don't accomplish what you should do, the reality change your course, and
Mhm.
sometimes just cancel the event.
So here's a question. Now in this life, say my blueprint, I will meet
Mhm.
certain people.
Mm.
How about the other people? They also have the same blueprint. Everybody has a blueprint, and somehow it's connected together to work with
Yeah,
everybody.
I think so.
That's a big job, I think, whoever made that.
Ye- Yeah, and it's really a unique idea, but I kind of believe that idea. So we have our own universe. So universe itself is our own thing.
Yeah.
So for example, um, how can I say? It's different from my perspective, and then from your perspective. And we have different universe. We are living in the different universe. So imagine that you're playing online video games again. Yeah. So there are other characters, right? The and then behind that character there are real people. Yeah. But your monitor and their monitor are different. So you're seeing a different world, a different universe. You know what I mean?
So within the context of, let's use like the
Mm.
video game idea,
Uh-huh.
sometimes people are in the same world, but
Mm.
they're playing different genres of the game, right? Like you could have
Mhm.
two people who somehow meet each other, but this person might be playing a strategy game. This person might be
Mhm.
playing an open world,
Mhm.
no plan or very minimal plan. But
Yeah.
their blueprints are associated with each other.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is such an interesting idea. I think a lot of perhaps a lot of the viewers might relate to, if they're video game players, might relate to this analogy, I believe.
Yeah, because I think we are living in the multiverse.
Ah,
So
oh, yeah.
my reality and your reality are slightly different. And
Mhm.
then I think we are when we are sharing when we share the moment or time, we have the same reality, pretty much the same.
That's true.
But once we just depart it, uh, I think the reality would be different.
So let me hit you with a strange question. Let me hit you with a strange question. So if people meet and then their
Uh,
realities are the same for that amount of time, but then they start to live different realities, right?
yeah,
Their memory and perception of this reality might be different than,
because
yeah, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like, I'm trying to think. The memory or their perception of the reality that they lived, I
uh-huh,
wonder if it will be different once they separate. So for this moment, they've had the same reality, but then once
uh-huh.
they separate, based on the conditions and factors of their environment, their current reality, I wonder if they still share the same memories,
Yeah,
this
because
reality.
it's so it's so difficult to understand. But
Yeah.
our reality is the range that we can perceive. Yeah, it's included. It includes of course your surroundings and
Hmm.
information. Yeah. So or when you're seeing something through the monitor, that's also your reality because you perceive that that is happening right now.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but before you perceive something, that reality is just it's not decided yet. It's just floating in the metaphysical world. But once
Just
you
waiting to be
perceive
chosen.
or observe, that yeah, it's it becomes solid immediately.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So we are living in a state of multiple opportunities every second.
Yeah. But
Ah.
I think there is a system that to manipulate our memories or how can I say? So to match our experience each other, so that
Okay.
we can share our lives. Make sense?
Hmm. Just a little bit. I'm
Uh,
still trying to catch up. I think
uh,
it's such a big, like I said, we talk about these things all the time, and we've talked about this
uh,
for months.
yeah.
Um, and still, sometimes I sit here and I think, "Oh, I thought I understood what that meant." But reality, is such a huge topic when you start to get
Yeah.
into, the multiverse territory and you start
Yeah.
to talk
But
about perceptions and the reality of individual people. I think it's
yeah,
much
because
deeper.
when I say reality, some people might think like reality as their lives, like their friends, their family, their companies or hobbies. Of course, they are also reality. But when I say reality, is how you perceive that word or right now, right moment. How do you
Mhm.
perceive that? That's the reality. So,
Interesting. Now, who gets to say, is there one correct reality? Um,
mhm,
who gets to say, like, AG, this is your reality, or Abby,
mhm.
this is your reality? So who
Yeah.
defines that? Who says, I don't know, it's such a complicated question even to think about.
So we don't actually have uh, our continuous existence
Mhm,
because it's just a continuous flow of the frames.
mhm.
We just shift to here to another frame every, I don't know, 0.000 something second.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So we just vibrationally shifted to the other frame. So we don't have our continuous situation.
So it's like a
It's
radio,
like animation.
like an animation. Okay.
Yes, yes. It's not
Now,
how can I say 3D. It's actually 2D,
mhm,
but we
mhm.
perceive 2D as 3D.
Perceive 2D as 3D.
Yeah, like a video game. You when you are open world,
Yeah.
you perceive that world as 3D, right? Three-dimensional
Yes.
world.
Yes.
But actually, you are seeing just a monitor.
Right.
That same thing is same thing happened in this reality.
Ah. So who's watching us?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Who's
Yeah, they
watching
are
our monitor?
the audiences.
The audio. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yeah, I guess so.
Of course, yeah, yourself. That
Yeah.
so the audience is your soul.
Okay.
That's what I think. Mm. And pure
Um,
yourself. Yeah. Under your ego, your pure
mhm.
soul is watching you.
That's such a I would love to talk about that too, the concept of a soul. But before we talk about that, I
Uh,
think oftentimes I've heard on the internet, perhaps these come from books, but uh, different quotes like live your
uh,
life as if you were watching it in a
yeah,
movie
yeah,
theater, or
yeah.
live your
Th-
life as if, you're cheering yourself on to do the next right thing. And
Yes.
what would you do if your life was a movie? What would you do if you were the main character?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
So, yeah. So now you're not yourself completely. So you
mhm.
have to understand that if you want to make your life better. Yeah, you're not here. You're somewhere else, and you're watching yourself. I mean, character here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
Mm.
I I think we'll be able to dive into
Mhm.
who exactly or what part of ourselves is watching us here
Mhm.
in future
Mhm.
episodes. I think everything that we talked about today leads to a deeper question, and that might
Mhm.
be who's out there watching us be here. And perhaps that's another version of ourselves, a higher version of ourselves, our souls. I'm very curious and excited to speak with you, hopefully, in the following episodes about
Yeah.
who is out there and who's cheering us on or
Mhm.
what's going
Who's
on,
watching us?
who's watching us, and why are we here? um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
just wanted to reach out and say thank you to everyone who's been watching and commenting. We'd love to hear
Mhm.
feedback and what you enjoy about the podcast. And so with that,
Yeah.
we will leave you, and I'll say until next time. We'll see you next time, AG, and see you next time, everybody.
Yeah. See you next time.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye.